and welcome to Willingness Wednesday. I am your coach, Bevon Squires, and today we're sponsored by Spirit Source Connection. At Spirit Source Connection, we believe that we're multidimensional spiritual beings, that we have supernatural power that we enact through our intuition, our visualization, our imagination, our creativity. These are all gifts that we have been given in order to manifest all the wonderful things into our lives that we have been here designed to achieve and receive in our reality. I'm so excited about coming to you today with all new Willingness Wednesday. Last week, we embarked on a series, and you know how I love my series. And so we talked about David Richo's 5 things that we cannot change. We talked about how important it is to understand those things that we cannot change and those things that we must accept. And knowing the difference between the two is the key to the total equation. And so today we're going to just move forward and talk about a couple of more things that are going to help us understand how important it is to understand and accept that there are things that we cannot change. So today's objectives are going to be to understand the transformative power of acceptance. We're going to cultivate a mindset that has a path to greater peace and resilience. And so what I want you to know today is that there are so many things that we cannot change. Let's say, for instance, we cannot change the gas prices. That's not something we have the ability to change. We cannot change how expensive groceries are right now. We cannot change the fact that we just came through a pandemic a couple of years ago that was very devastating for a lot of us, right? We cannot change those things. Those are things we must accept. We need serenity to accept those things. And where does that serenity come from? It comes from a power source. See, I can't give myself serenity in the midst of a panic attack. I cannot give myself serenity in the midst of trying to enact change on something that I need to be accepting of, right? I can only pray and ask God to grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, by cultivating a mindset of acceptance, we give ourselves the ability to cultivate peace, right? To cultivate resilience within ourselves. If we had everything go the way we wanted them to, how would we learn how to develop those muscles of resilience? How would we learn how to develop those muscles of calm when we're actually wanting to be in chaos? I've lived that way. I know that feeling. I don't know about you, but I definitely know that feeling. And so understanding those things that I could not change was one of the best things that ever happened to my life. What it did is it gave me parameters within which to operate. Now I can stop putting my energy on things I cannot change, and I can start putting my energy on gaining the courage and the faith and the trust, right? To accept those things I cannot change, and then the courage to change those things that I can. Now, I do want to let you know that there is a transformative power that comes with acceptance. And so what we're going to do is look at the fact that rather than trying to repel or, rebel against those things that we cannot change, when we stop that sense of rebellion, then we are in a posture where we can then move forward. As long as I have the mindset that I'm going to change things that cannot be changed, I am not in a position to move forward. Most of my life was spent in that mindset that I'm going to change things that cannot be changed. I was a rebel of sorts, a rebel with no cause. Imagine that. Imagine that. But I tell you what, the freedom that I have gained now that I know that I don't have to walk around and try to change everything in my life. I have the ability to accept things. Wow. That is such an amazing trait today for me, because now I don't have to have that mental anguish. I don't have to have my mind racing 24/7 on how I'm going to change the situation, knowing good and well that I don't have the power to change it. And so what has happened is I come to understand there's a feeling inside of me that feels like, that feels tight. that doesn't feel like it's flowing. It feels like my energy is just as like it's in one big giant ball, and it's angst. And it's angst and it's fear because I can't control things. And so some of us have that issue where we need to be in control. And so I want to tell you, I want to help you here. If you do not allow yourself to move away from that feeling of having to control things, move away from that fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen if I take my hands off of it? You are going to spend your life bumping your head against the wall, trying to change things that you cannot change. You're going to look up and look around, and your whole life will have passed by you. And what have you achieved? Not much, because you had your energy in the wrong direction. So when we turn our energy into those things that we can change, then we start seeing progress. What can I change? Okay, I can change my mindset. I can change the way I perceive things. I can change how I believe. And once I change the way that I believe about things, woo-wee, life just takes on an energy of its own. Once I fall into line, once I fall into place, once I understand the difference between the things I cannot change and the things that I must change, life then begins to get exciting. Life then begins to have meaning. I then be able to find my purpose. But I can't find my purpose as long as I'm fighting within myself about those things I can change and those things that I need to accept. Now, we're going to talk about accepting change, or accepting those things that we cannot change, in the context of relationships. Let's say, for instance, you found somebody, oh my goodness, woo-wee, he is fine, but only if he didn't, or only if he would just, well, I know I'm going to change all of that. All I have to do is, Well, I want to tell you, you are barking up the wrong tree. You cannot change people into anyone that you would like them to be. We must accept people for who they are, and then maybe, right? Maybe they will see the need to change within themselves. If we can give them examples of how, maybe if we could come to a compromise on this thing, but you're not going to be able to change them. The best you can do is try to get them into the same mindset so that they would see that the things need to be changed on their own, and then you can support them through that change. Now, the other one is at the job. Let's say, for instance, you are at a career and you have a coworker, right? You have a coworker that, I know, I'm going to tell you a real life story that happened to me. I had an incident at my place of business where someone echoed out a racial slur right there in Cubicle City. What to do. I know I can't change that situation. Whatever her thought process is, whatever her belief system is, nothing I can change. She was that way when she came to work in our department, or whenever I got there, because she was there before me. But she was already that way. And now I become aware of my environment. I can't change that environment, but guess what? I can change. I can change my willingness to operate within those parameters. I can say, hey, this is not a good situation for me. So I am going to remove myself so that we can work through the situation. And what ended up happening was I exited stage left. And I let them be there with that environment and that individual. I was able then to work remotely from home, which removed me totally from that situation. Now, I could not change that person and I could not change that environment, but I could change my location. And so that's what I did. See, what I'm trying to help you to understand is the things that you can change are within you. You are the only thing you can change. You can remove yourself from a situation. You can change the way you think about something. You can change the way you believe about something. That's the change that can happen. See, so all the changes that we're looking forward to happening outside of us, when we change our perception, the change is made. See? It's so interesting the way that works. When I change me and my perception of the things that I'm looking at, then the things I see actually change. The people actually change when I change. Whew. So powerful. So powerful. And I'm happy to help you with this part because see, unless someone comes to you and breaks it down for you, you're not going to understand these things and you're going to continue to try to fight against those things that cannot be changed and not accept the fact that you need to change other things, right? So we're going to continue to move on. But what I want you to know is that there is nothing passive about acceptance. Acceptance is a powerful tool that will carry you from here until eternity, as long as you are willing to accept your part in reality. Some things you can change, some things you can't. The sooner you understand that, the better off you will be. And the sooner you will be able to move into manifesting wonderful things into your life. You first have to get this piece together first. So that's why we're not talking about manifesting. Manifesting will come next after we get this piece in place. So understanding today that we have the ability to accept things that we cannot change. We also have the ability to change things that we must. Understanding the difference between the two only comes through the ability that we have to connect with a higher power source who can help us with that wisdom. Because that wisdom does not come from here. It comes from our spiritual connection. You know, like I'm always saying that we're mind, body, and spirit, right? So that's the part of us that has to connect. The spiritual part of us has to connect so that we understand and have the ability to move into action when action is warranted. All right, guys, there you go. I have just explained to you the importance of accepting the things that we cannot change, changing the things that we must, and understanding the wisdom that comes along to help us understand the differences between the two. Now, I am going to be looking forward to seeing you again next week right here on Willingness Wednesday, where we'll continue to move into talking about the 5 things that we cannot change and how we can accept our mindsets, right? How we can place them in a new thought process so that we can grasp all this wonderful information, understand the parameters that we're working through, and then have all of our energy going in the same direction so we can start manifesting all of the wonderful things that we want in our lives, okay? All right. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to pray and ask God to bless you real good so that anything that you are manifesting already is on its way. Don't give up the faith. Don't give up the trust. Keep moving forward because that thing that you are manifesting for is on its way to you right now. Guys, I want to thank you so much for meeting me here, and I will look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, I want you to know that I'm praying for you, that I love you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.